This is the program that shows you the side of police chase videos they didn't want you to see. Bungled arrests, kamikaze crooks and cop-based carnage of all kinds. Welcome to Cops Uncut, the real car crash TV.
On my way.
Coming up on Cops Uncut. This driver flips out. This girl gets righteously indignant.
Ridiculous. Bloody ridiculous, man.
And this driver ditches his wheels.
Taking off again.
In Cambridge, Ohio, the cops have spotted a small defect in this car and are trying to pull the driver over so they can tell him about it. Unfortunately, he also appears to have a small defect in his brain, and rather than complying, decides to accelerate away with the patrol car in hot pursuit. Now, instead of a good mechanic, he's going to need a good lawyer, as well as a bank manager who's willing to lend him some money to pay off a speeding fine and a bail bond. No matter how hard he puts his foot down, visibility is good and there's hardly anyone else on the road, so the cops are staying in touch with ease. If you've seen one freeway, you've seen them all. They tend to be wide, flat and straight and don't exactly lend themselves to shaking someone off. Before long, this fugitive figures he'll be better off somewhere more secluded and takes a detour into the leafy suburbs. Now, though, there are all sorts of annoying motorists around who insist on obeying such ridiculous things as speed limits and stop signs. With all these red mailboxes, picket fences and perfectly manicured front lawns, it sure is peaceful round here. It just doesn't seem like the ideal place for a chase. So after meandering his way around the side streets for a while, he changes his mind again and heads for the highway. But while this villain has been vacillating, the police have been planning ahead. And there's an officer lying in wait over the brow of the next hill with a radio and some stop sticks. He practically had to chase his man to the other side of the road, but the stinger hits its target. And the suspect now has so many spikes in his tires, it looks like he's driven through a field full of porcupines. With his rubber going flat, it's only a matter of time before this getaway loses its fizz as well. Now that this officer has some support, he can organise a two-pronged attack to reel in the wrongdoer as his colleague joins in at the next T-junction. Driving on your wheel rims would be difficult enough if you were reversing out of a garage. But trying to outrun a couple of cruisers on a country lane is another matter completely. So it should come as no surprise at all when we find this around the next corner. The driver must be confused because he's still got his foot on the gas. The cops, on the other hand, would do well to put the guns away and prepare themselves for some heavy lifting. This dodgy geezer was at the wheel of a dodgy motor. But the prospect of failing his MOT wasn't enough to have him pull over for the police. So after driving over a spike strip, he soon found himself turning over in midair. Still to come in part 1. This policeman gets accused of being prejudiced.
Bloody ridiculous, man.
And this driver ends up in a ditch. It wasn't me, Gov. Normally, you'll find that a cop interrogates his suspect, but in this case, it's the other way round.
You didn't write the ticket off because I will contest it. I wasn't going 60 something.
Okay.
My husband was going lesser. It's a 50-mile zone out there. I saw a 50-mile zone. And you say you clocked me at 60-something, you couldn't have. And even if you had, it might have been at a second of that. I'm definitely going to contest it.
Okay.
And Mrs. Indigo here doesn't just have verbal diarrhea. She's also suffering from a bad case of denial, and her husband is hanging around to back up her story.
I'm going to pull the color suit on this one.
Excuse me?
No, I wasn't speeding. I'm going to contest it because this is ridiculous.
You're a safety man. I need you to go back over and have a seat. Okay. I don't care, sir.
My husband, if you would put me on
59 dispatch, come in another unit over here.
Before this barrage of blagging gives him a migraine, the cop calls for backup and goes to sit in the relative quiet of his driver's seat. With the appearance of another patrol car, at least Mr. Indigo decides to stand back and keep his mouth shut. But as it turns out, his wife is only just getting warmed up, and she thinks there's more to this traffic stop than a faulty speed gun.
female thing or a racial thing, and you need to check yourself. This is ridiculous. You don't just pull somebody over just because she looks like you don't like her. That's bullshit. You told me, you know what he told me? He told me I was driving in a 40-mile zone. It says up there, 50-mile zone. And I was not driving 61. He was right in front of me.
This girl's got a chip on her shoulder the size of Texas, although it would appear that this isn't her first speeding ticket.
I never ever go to court for a ticket, but this time I will. And I don't care if this gets on channel 5,000. You're going to be exposed for your disgusting prejudice sale. You will.
The officer, meanwhile, is having trouble getting a word in edgeways.
Indigo, Miss Indigo, your court date is going to be August the 9th
You've already said
at
that.
9 a.m. at City Municipal.
You've
been charged with no proof of insurance and speeding, okay?
If
I could.
you like. Let me tell you something.
If I could.
Mrs. Indigo hasn't quite finished playing the victim, even if she is staring a fine and a court appearance in the face.
And I will take you up to the police department and make you post a cash bond.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think I will have to call you NWHC. You are definitely a resident. Give me that thing, please. Ridiculous. Bloody ridiculous, man. Y'all picking black people. Y'all need to go and pick on your own redneck tail. Ridiculous.
This is no ordinary case for the defense because her claims of innocence are apparently backed up by a higher power.
You're so disgusting. When you look inside the mirror, you should really get down on your knees and tell Jehovah God you're sorry for your behavior with other human beings.
This cop is clearly getting tired of being made to feel like he's the guilty one.
Ma'am, I don't know either one of you.
We don't know you either, except we know that you're a redneck and you're prejudiced, and you try to take it out on other people just because of their color.
But he's finally got what he needs, Mrs. Indigo's signature on a court order. So now he can go on his way and save his ears from persecution.
There's your license back. You drive careful, okay? Drive careful, Miss Indigo.
There are so many millions of miles of public roads in America that the government simply can't afford to have them all properly tarmacked. So once you get away from the big cities and the 8-lane interstates, dirt tracks like these are the order of the day. And no-nonsense pickups like the one up ahead are the best means of negotiating them. But the reason we're looking at this vehicle from a police dashcam is because it's stolen. And the reason the car thief is taking us on a tour of the back roads is because he thinks that's the best way of giving them the slip. After all, your average police cruiser is designed for racing along in the fast lane of a freeway, not skidding around a farmyard trying to avoid chickens. And judging by the number of cop cars on his tail, this must be one of Georgia's most wanted. After waking up the local farmer at 2 in the morning, this dirt track desperado decides to annoy him even more by veering off into the nearest cornfield. This gives the cops an even bumpier ride than before, but they're still managing to keep up. And once you're in the really rough stuff, there are all sorts of hidden dangers just waiting to trip you up, like this innocuous-looking ditch, for instance. So now this suspect has got 3 scary skinheads giving him orders.
Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Get out of the goddamn car! Get out now!
And an insurance claim that'll keep him off the road and out of the cornfields for several years to come.
Taking off again.
This aspiring Spider-Man has hit upon a novel way of evading the cops.
I might lose him. He's kind of moving around, but he's up in a tree.
He's decided to branch out into a whole new hiding place 30 feet above the ground.
Continue on like you are. It's off to your left now about...
The only trouble is that's 30 feet closer to the police helicopter that's hovering overhead and in full view of its infrared camera.
Okay, this officer's got him on view. Just get over here to the light. Well, he's jumping from tree to tree now. I guess he's going to make his big getaway.
When he told his friends that he was thinking of turning over a new leaf, they probably didn't realize exactly what he meant.
Well, he's still in the same tree. It looks just like he's trying to get higher up in it. Just get over here to the light as best you can.
Too much monkey business is either going to land him in trouble or land him flat on his face.
Okay, he just took a big tumble. He's on the ground now. He's running westbound.
But falling out of a tree doesn't seem to have hurt him at all. So now we're going to find out how he fares on solid ground.
Westbound, kind of west-northwest direction. Okay, now he's running around the east side of this house. He's at the house itself. He's on the east side of this house.
Unfortunately, his superpowers don't stretch to scaling walls. So all he can do now is sit tight and hope that the cops decide to give up and go home.
Up against the house, on the east side of this house. I believe we have the light on the house.
But with a night vision camera and a floodlight beaming down from above, this guy sticks out like a sore thumb.
The building joins the house. I've got him on view right up in there.
And there's a whole team of troopers closing in.
I'm right here. Where's he at now? Well, the lead officer should be coming up on him here. The one's up next to the house. Just continue on up between the buildings there. He may be high. I can't tell, but I can see him.
If he's high now, it must be in the figurative sense of the word, because there's no sign of him on the roof. This two-bit Tarzan thought he could become upwardly mobile, but his climbing skills just left him out on a limb.
Okay, everybody slow down. We've got 3 officers on them taking him in custody. Yeah, are there any more outstanding?
Now, instead of being stuck up a tree, he'll be stuck in a cell. Sergeant Libby of the Port Wentworth Police Department is having trouble keeping up with the action. His squad car just isn't going fast enough, so the driver he's pursuing is little more than a distant dot on the horizon. Perhaps nobody's told him that as a cop you have special dispensation to break the speed limit. Either that or his squad car needs a few modifications, because if the chase carries on like this, his suspect is going to disappear completely. Having struggled up the slip road, Libby gets to the next junction just in time to see the car as it careers around the corner and out of sight. But if he really puts his pedal to the metal, there's just a chance that he'll get close enough to read the number plate. Being so far behind, Sergeant Libby's options for bringing things to a close are fairly limited. Until some backup arrives, he's relying on this crook to come a cropper. That is, until the unthinkable happens, and without any prompting at all, the suspect decides to pull over onto the hard shoulder and give himself up. Libby can't believe his luck, especially when the driver puts his hands up, opens the car door, and obediently lies down on the ground. Now he'll be able to pretend that it was a hard-fought battle that he only managed to win through cunning, bravery, and some high-risk traffic maneuvers. Oddly enough, when one of his colleagues finally turns up to lend a helping hand, there's so much smoke coming out the back of his cruiser, you'd think the engine had exploded. Until he decided to put some distance between himself and Sergeant Libby, the only thing this guy had done wrong was to have a suspended license. But pretty soon there are enough officers around to handcuff him 10 times over. In order to reassert his authority, Libby wants to give the guy a lecture about the dangers of driving at high speed, and about how much of a pain in the arse he's been.
Taking off again.
Still to come in part 2. This felon pays a flying visit to the forecourt, and this lawbreaker locks the door. As a cop, you should always try and keep your job and your personal life separate. No matter what's going on with your wife, your kids, your friends, or your pets, you mustn't let it get in the way of performing your duties, however trivial the crime you're dealing with may be. Take these two officers. They've just found a drink driver who was ready to pass out in his pickup, and whilst one of them turns the dash cam around, the other gets going on a field sobriety test. From the looks of things, this could take some time, as the man in question appears to be moving in slow motion. He also manages to talk in slow motion.
Have you taken anything that would impair your driving? No.
But that doesn't justify this unexpected interruption.
Hang on just a second. I'll read you the implied consent law, and we'll go from there. Hello?
Not only did this cop forget to turn his mobile off, he's also quite happy to answer it halfway through an interrogation. So while his colleague is left with just a semi-comatose suspect for company, this talkative trooper has a good old chinwag with his missus about what she's cooking for dinner and the new fish tank they've just bought for the kids. He clearly thinks it's a shame that reading someone their rights has to get in the way of more important matters, like who's going to take the dog for a walk or whether or not the video has been set for tonight's episode of Ugly Betty.
I'll be home in an hour. Alrighty, I'm gonna arrest the guy for DUI real quick.
So, time for a quick recap. Never allow your role as head of the household to prevent you from being a pillar of the community. And remember that mobile should only be used in an emergency, preferably by members of the public who need your help.
You're under arrest for driving while impaired, under the influence of intoxicating liquor and/or drugs.
Because making someone stand out in the cold is bad enough, but there's really no excuse for doing it to your partner.
Good.
Class dismissed. Being in a police chase can really mess up your evening. For example, when the driver up ahead left the house, there was a whole list of errands he was going to run. First off was the family bucket of fried chicken. Then there was the new Chuck Norris DVD, followed by a 6-pack of beer from the local liquor store. But now he's got a cop breathing down his neck. That's all gone to pot. And there's one more crucial purchase that he really needs to make if he's going to get home in one piece. It's not a pint of milk or the latest edition of Playboy. No, this clueless country boy just needs to get himself some gas. So how do you stop the car, fill up your tank, pay the attendant and pull away again while still managing to evade arrest? With great difficulty, it would appear, because there's not much he can do except speed through the forecourt and straight out the other side again. As his fuel gauge dips into the red, it's time to have another go. But this guy is a few gallons short of a full tank, so the outcome is uncannily similar. Next, he decides to head for the woods in search of biofuel. His cousin's moonshine distillery is around here somewhere, if only he could remember which dirt track to take. It takes another 20 minutes, but finally the inevitable happens and the petrol-free pickup has to stop for the night. Having failed to fill her up, the driver must now be feeling like a 4-star fool.
Taking off again.
You might think that Palm Bay in Florida was a safe and sun-drenched holiday resort with casinos, hotels, and hordes of pensioners playing golf or relaxing by the pool. Well, you'd be wrong, because like plenty of other places in the States, this town is positively crawling with crooks. Walk around the shops and you're liable to get your handbag nicked. Go out after dark and you'll want to carry a gun. Why? Because the driver of the car up ahead is just the sort of unsavory character you're liable to bump into. An attempted murderer on the run from the cops, she's speeding down the boulevard with the steering wheel in one hand and an automatic in the other. And it's only through sheer good fortune that when she comes a cropper, it's not an innocent pedestrian she plows into, but a lamppost.
Raise your hands! Throw your hands down! Get out of the car! Get out of the car!
And when this long-haired lawbreaker finally follows instructions and exits her motor from the passenger seat...
Get out of the car now! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
It turns out that she's so drunk she couldn't stay standing even if you told her to. So the next time you're planning a holiday in the sun, remember to check the crime figures at your destination before you book your ticket.
Taking off again.
It's a positive pea super of a night in Bremen, Georgia, as the cops chase down this 17-year-old suspect. He's already driven through a spike strip, so the smoke from his front tires makes the atmosphere even more like an outtake from the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. His ability to steer in a straight line, however, has taken a bit of a dive, so it's fortunate that at 4 in the morning there's no one else around to get in his way. With nothing else to do on the night shift, the police department can devote plenty of time and effort to the chase. They can also have fun trying to take apart the teenager's truck. But when you're young enough to be in high school, fear has no meaning. So even with squad cars coming at him from all sides, this kid doesn't flinch. It's only his lack of driving skills that finally brings him to a halt as he spins out on the slippery road and winds up facing in the wrong direction. Instead of immediately giving himself up, he realizes that he can delay an arrest by simply refusing to unlock his door. The cop appears to be very angry indeed, so for now, staying put is probably the best option. This fog-bound felon swerved his way through an early morning chase, and for a while, it was difficult to see how he was going to be stopped. But now the cops have got their hands on him, they won't be getting misty-eyed about throwing him in jail.
Taking off again.
So what have we learnt today on Cops Uncut? There's nothing more rewarding than a bit of field work. Always keep the ratio of cops to criminals as high as possible. And don't get locked out by a lawbreaker. Be careful out there.